You're welcome to Kharis tutorials. Today we are going to be making a princess bustier dress, more like an office dress, but it can be cut with even Ankara fabric or any fabric of your choice. First, you're going to be folding your fabric using your bust circumference plus 8 divided by 4, which is the same as bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2. Then the half length is what I measured first. Here is the shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5. Then from the top I measured 8.5, which is my armhole length. Then the underbust length as well. So I'm going to take the underbust circumference measurement below the underbust length. I already made a tutorial on how to cut princess dart bustier. So if you're just joining this class, you can check my tutorials on how to make princess dart bustier. Now here is my armhole which I have created. We're going to measure 1.5 inches here. And also we're going to get the midpoint of our armhole, which is 8.25. We come in by 0.5 to create our armhole. All these are what I have explained in the former tutorial on how to cut a princess dart bustier. So we'll connect from bust to the underbust circumference, then we cut it out. The next thing we're going to do first is from the top, you get your underbust length. Then from the underbust length, you measure the nipple points. It can also be measured from the shoulder. So you can either get your nipple point from the shoulder or from the underbust measurement. We're going to be taking our princess dart, our normal princess dart, which is 4 inches. Now let me use this pattern to explain further from our last tutorial. Like I said, here is my 4 inches, which is for that. And on the armhole, we're going to measure, you can take 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, but I'm going with 3.5 inches. So what we're going to do is first get the straight line. We are cutting out our princess darts. So from the armhole, I'm going to connect to the bust points just like this. And this is our armhole. Now we'll create our neckline. I'm using 3 inches for the width and the depth of 7 inches. You can go with any neckline of your choice. Mine is more like a V shape, but not a sharp V. Then here on the shoulder, we'll take 1 inch for our shoulder slant, just like this. Having done that, here on the neckline, like I said, it's not a sharp V, so I tried to correct it. So having done that, we're going to first cut this out before we move on. Here is our princess dart, so we need to cut it out. But we are going to hold on here so we can bring out our princess bustier. Now from that point where we cut, or from your marked point, you're going to take 1.5 inches until you get to the underbust measurement. And from your marked point, you're going to take 1 inch on the armhole, while on the nipple point it is 0.5 inches. So let's connect the points from underbust to nipple point, then from nipple point to the armhole. Now straight down from underbust. So this is what you are going to get. You can just draft it out. Also, to bring out your princess dart, the more you can just take 0.25 inches and connect the point like this, in order to get that bustier shape. So this is what you're going to have, and now you can cut it out. I am going to be placing this on my fabric and cut. I'll cut my fabric and I'll cut my lining. I'll also cut my stay. I'll be using a stay. You can use your paper stay if you like. Next is to cut the base of our top. Oh, sorry, let's go with the back first. The back body. So we have the half length. Here is the under bust length, and here is the 8.5 inches armhole length. So we're going to take 1.5 inches and I'll fold it. That's for the zipper measurements. I'm using 1.5 inches. Having done that, we're going to get our shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5. Then at the 8.5, that's the armhole, we're going to get the bust circumference plus 8 divided by 4, just like we have done for the front bodice. Then below the under bust length, we get the under bust circumference measurement plus 8 divided by 4. Alright, so let's connect the points. First, we get the armhole. So to do that, create your L shape just like this. Measure out your 1.5 from the L point, and then connect from the bust and the under bust circumference like that. So here is my 1.5, and now I can create my armhole. So now we can cut it out. Or before we do that, you can get a neckline. The width for the front is 3 inches. So I still maintain my 3 inches, but the depth 1.5 inches is what I'll be using. And of course, I'll be using a round neck, and the shoulder slant of 1 inch. Of course, mark it out, and there we go. Now that this has been done, to eradicate the bulge at the zipper area of our dress, first we need to get the midpoint. You can take the measurement from the shoulder if you want to get the center where you're going to cut it in. So, but here I am getting the midpoint. I'm going to connect from the base to that point. At that point, I took in 1.5 inches. So you just connect like this. You can reduce to 1 inch. If you have never done this, you can reduce to 1 inch. So what you do is place your pattern on your fabric to cut. My fabric is folded into 2 to get the sides, the 2 sides for the back folded into 2. So we have the back now cut out. Now we move to the base of the front. We already have a half length of 17 inches. So I'm taking out 17 inches. From the 17, I get my waist measurements plus 8 divided by 4. Then you get the distance between the waist and the hip, so that you can take the hip circumference measurement plus 8 divided by 4. And for me, I got 11 inches. So I'm subtracting 1 inch at the base. So I'm measuring out 10 inches at the base. So you're going to connect from the base to the hip and also to the waist, just like this. So this is the base for the front, and you can cut it out just like that. Place your pattern on the fabric. Of course, make sure the fabric is folded. You need to fold your fabric into 2. I added to the length of my front pattern, and here we go. Now I'll be using the front pattern to cut the back, of course, and I'll be leaving my zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. Now let me show you. Here it is. So I have my 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. Now for the front design, I'll be using my pattern, the back pattern that we cut out. I'll be using it to draft out the pattern at the front, just a design. And I'm trying to create my design. This is something you can just be creative with. You can just use your marker or your chalk or your pencil to trace out something, just like like a yoke, more like an half of what you have. Yeah, you cut out the top part of the pattern and you get just something. You can be creative with it. You place on your fabric. You can see I'm folding into two because I need for the two sides, and I'll also be cutting out lining for this. I'll also cut out my stay. Now I'm using the same fabric as the lining. All right, so I'm placing it. Now I have 4. Next is to fold a flare. The other side of the design is more like a flare, so I'm folding a single flare, which means the measurement is going to be divided by 2. So your waist measurement, that's the front measurement, the waist is 28, so divided by 2 is 14. And now the 14 divided by 2 will give us 7 inches. It is 14 because it is only at the front. So the 14 now divided by 2 is 7 inches. All right, so my 7 inches is what I have gotten, and I am measuring out the length of my flare. So here is one side of the design. You can decide to trim out one side to be longer than the other side. And then the second design, I'll be using the front pattern to create that. So here is the longer side. You know, like I said earlier, you can just be creative with this part of the design. Here is shorter while the other one is longer. I tried to create my slant shape, and then from there I got the shape that I want. So just make sure you do something and then you're good to go. You place it on the fabric to cut. Make sure you iron your stay, cut out your lining as well. Then we'll come back for the sewing. Remember to like the video, share, and if this is your first time, you need to subscribe. So go ahead and do the cutting. I'll see you next class.